Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our weekly Tuesday discussion here at the Rachel Carson Center in Munich. My name is Gesa Lüdecke, and together with our director, Christoph Mau, who will be joining soon, I'm doing the moderation for this class. And today it's my turn, and we are really excited to have the chance to learn and talk about another great project initiated by 3 students from LMU and TUM, in collaboration with mentees and designers that help to bring a so-called climate protection platform into life. With platform, I rather mean an application, so an app. And this app will be launched in the LMU community first this fall. And this is when we, all of us, can actually start planting virtual trees on campus, I guess. The founders of this app are Tobias, Lennard, and David, and they're all with us here today. I'll just briefly introduce them to you. Tobias recently graduated from LMU with a double degree in geography and computer sciences / informatics, and he's also the co-founder of the Student for Future movement here in Munich. Lennard studies robotics, cognition, and intelligence at the Technical University. And David studies the Environmental System and Sustainability Master's program here at the LMU. And David also mentioned that especially one class from Professor Julia Pongratz on physical geography and land use system during one of the public climate school weeks of the past semesters has sparked his interest in doing something about climate change. And this is how the 3 of them met during a class. And then they realized that they have the same interests in developing technical solutions for tackling climate change and environmental problems. And they all share a passion for coding. And that's what brought them together. And they started developing a community app. And today we get the chance to learn about how this app works, and how we as LMU target group are getting inspired by using it, and how the next steps will look like after the app has taken over LMU. So the project is already quite advanced because they are supported by Dr. Matthias Stephan, who is the head of technology at Siemens DataVisions, because they won the first place in the Siemens Global Student Challenge in 2020. And since then, the project has gained momentum. And today we'll get some kind of a sneak peek into the app and how we as LMU members can actually use it once it's going live. Again, we are really excited to have the Communitree team. This is how the app is called, Communitree. So we have the team with us here today. And everybody, please join me in welcoming Tobias, David, and Lennard.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. We thought of structuring our presentation before we start with an engaged discussion, like it will take 10 to 15 minutes, into first giving you our key takeaways from the last month or almost a year. Then secondly, showing you the actual concept of Communitree and our vision. And then Toby will show you our first screens, and you will get to see the real app. And I think Gesa already mentioned a couple of things which brought us here today. And for me personally, it all started by the climate change lecture of Mrs. Pongratz, where we learned about climate change. It can be visited by everyone at the public climate school, as mentioned. And I recognized, okay, we should do something about climate change. You should get really active in this. I knew Toby from university, and Toby was quite engaged in Students for Future. But we started talking and said, maybe we should also build something, do anything additional to go to the additionally to go to the streets. And this is our first key takeaway. I would say that if you have an idea or a vision or a problem that you want to solve, or anything that gets your interest, just start with it, and this always sounds quite easy or stupid, I would say, but maybe it makes it easier and even more successful if you not only start, but also start talking about it. That's how I connected with Toby. That's how we connected with Lennard. That's how Matthias, our mentor, the boss of Toby, later came to us. That's how we got supported. More on this later. But just really start talking about what you're doing, and everything else will come in the end, I would say, or we would say, I guess. And the second point then is the second key takeaway is that it's completely normal that you will have a trial and error path, especially if in a field like climate change or also climate action engagement, where nobody is quite experienced. It's quite normal to fail in the first hand. So we had 3 or 4 different concepts, and on parts we didn't even agree on the concept we were working on, but it was more the support that we received and the overall goal to do something about climate change that kept us together. And I would say it was we got our learnings. Our learnings, people, and also contacts with us from this time. So it was not a waste of time at all, I would say. And the first thing is to get out of this try and error phase. It was quite helpful for us that we have a focused target group. So we were kind of lost in our concept or in our different concepts. And what helped us in the end is that we focus now on students and university. And when we realized this, or when we stated that we want to focus on students, all the other components came together, actually. So focused target group really helped us here. And one really important thing is also, Gisa also mentioned it, that we received massive support on first-hand side by LMU Sustainability Circle. And it's not only the support by the people of LMU or institutions, but also the enthusiasm these people brought to us. So we were, I think, quite motivated by them being enthusiastic about the topic. So never underestimate the power of enthusiasm of others. And we also want to mention here Matthias, want to highlight him here. He not only brought enthusiasm with him and to us, but also structure and guidance. And one key takeaway of this would be get yourself a mentor. And Matthias really helped us further also. So this was our storyline, kind of. And now I will share my screen and start talking with you about our concept, our overall concept. So as you've heard, we are called Communitree. We are developing an app which will be launched end of the month at LMU. And the purpose is that Communitree will enable communities in self-empowering for a constant movement concerning climate action, and in 3 different pillars, which are quite important for us. We start by personal levels, but we also want to focus on the mid or long term on the institutional and on the structural level. So here you see some screens, which Toby will show more in detail later on. But here you see the problem, so to say. In the first hand, 90% of surveyed German students think climate action or environmental protection is important, but the behavioral change is quite controversial. And we have seen this a lot, that we have a value action gap, a massive value action gap regarding climate change, or in general environmental topics. And we asked ourselves why it is like this. And we thought it is because people, or in this case students, don't know where to start, are not motivated in starting, and if they start, they don't feel like having an impact. So we try to provide different solutions for this. We want to enable through super low entry barriers and help people to start, and also with our app, help people to help other people to start. Then we want to motivate through gamification and through working in groups. This brings more convenience, and it also brings social appreciation. So we think this motivates people in the end. And on the third hand side, by working in groups, we also want to give a direct feedback, a direct feeling of impact. So of course, it's not only about the feeling of impact. You also really have to have an impact in the end, but we think it's quite important that you work together in groups and someone can directly tell you, it's so nice that you have not eaten any meat for this month, for example. I think that gives a feeling of impact. And to start telling you how the whole concept works before Toby explains it in more detail. This is a textual overview how it works. So you would sign up to Communitree, and then you would add 4 other friends or fellow students. Best case would be 2 students who are quite interested, for example, in climate change, but haven't started to do anything, and maybe also 2 people who actually don't really care about environment but are interested in challenges. That would be our optimum team. And then you could start to challenge yourself as a team in this group. And these challenges could be that you propose to cycle all your distances for 1 month, or that you start eating vegetarian for 2 weeks. And by doing this, you as a group will grow, like you will earn CO2 equivalents, and this will be translated into a virtual tree, which is growing for your group. And you can not only challenge yourself, but you can also offset your flights that you've done, for example, in the semester holidays. And you can also compare yourself to yourself, because your progress as a team is tracked. You can compare yourself to other team members. You see how much each of you has contributed to your common virtual tree, and you all add to your campus forest, your virtual campus forest, and your campus or your university can then compare it to other universities. And this is all this personal action perspective, which we think is quite important to get engaged, but we are quite aware that there's also an institutional and a structural level. And for this, we want to first feature sustainability events or lectures that are happening at your university. At LMU, for example, there are so many of them, but actually it doesn't reach everyone, or also the ones who are not already quite familiar with the topics. And secondly, we want to feature sustainability project of worldwide universities, so that you can get inspired by projects that are done somewhere else on the world and can suggest to do the same at your university. And yeah, that's our institutional and structural level side, which we will focus on the midterm and long term. But as I took some time already, I would hand over to Toby to show you our first screens.
Great, thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, so I actually also know the Rachel Carson Center from before, visiting some presentations, so it's quite nice to be on the other side now. So yeah, I would just give you a quick overview about like the screens that we have developed, especially Lucia, who is in our call, also like our designer, and we're implementing them right now. And so we want to launch in the fall for the semester. However, we're going to have an MVP, so like a minimum viable product, which is like a kind of prototype ready by the end of the month, and also looking for people who want to test the app and give us feedback. So if that's something you are interested in, then yeah, we'd be happy to hear from you. Gonna give you some contacts of us later on. So yeah, let's jump right into it. So first, of course, you start by creating an account and logging in. You also enter some information about your study course and university, so we can kind of see how different universities can be compared to each other. And you have 3 tabs for the prototype, which is the tree view or growth, the campus view, and the action view. I'm gonna like jump in each one of them real quick. Generally, like we want to have all the actions done inside a group, so inside of a community. So the first thing you would need to do is to create a group or either join a group, similar as you might know it from an app like Splitwise. And once you've joined a group, you would start in this tree view, and you would not have any tree since you haven't done anything yet. So this is the idea to motivate you to get active. And the way you would get active is by doing actions. That's the tab right here. And this is like 4 actions that we thought of as of right now for the prototype. However, I think this can be greatly expanded, and we're also happy for your feedback. So one action, for example, would be to reduce your meat consumption. The way you would do this then is you would kind of start this action, and everyone inside your group would be challenged to join you. You would set amount of time that you want to do this action, and also see how much CO2 could be saved if everyone in the group managed to do this challenge. Of course, this is not very exact, as depending on how much meat you ate before, this differs. So we're gonna just use average values for now. But I think the point is not to be super precise about everything, but generally give you an overview how much you can impact your general CO2 footprint with that. And then you would have your active challenge, and every day or every week you could check your boxes and see if you've done the challenge. And yeah, if you're going good and you manage to do your challenge, then your action will actually be completed, and your tree will then grow further. So as a motivator, and you will also have an overview about all your challenges that you already did. Maybe sometime even one could imagine that you're able to post your own challenges inside the group. That's the main idea. Inside the tree view, you would also see a kind of comparison, like who in the group contributed what. Like this might also be controversial. Do we really want to see who did what? However, we think that it also motivates to see that your behavior is actually also seen inside your group. So it's not public, but inside your group with your friends, you would kind of see who did a challenge, who contributed how much. And to also get this on the next level, we also want to implement this campus view. So the idea is that you have your own campus, you have different groups, and the groups can compete against each other. This should also give like kind of a motivation to do more. And then you also could compare different universities. So let's say all the groups from the LMU are collected together, the whole data, how much they contributed, and then this can be like a campus ranking between the universities. And in the next steps, we also want to include more and more this inspire aspect, that we want to feature projects. We want to have something like a newsfeed, an overview of events, things like this to really motivate people to not only improve their own actions, but actually contribute even more inside the climate action community. So yeah, that's generally the concept. I don't know if David or Lennard want to add something.
I would say it was perfectly fine, Toby.
Yeah, I also liked it quite much. I just wanted to add, like, you have already mentioned it, like, if someone is happy to be a test user even after our discussion, just either write us an email to info@communitree-app.com, or from today evening on, also our landing page with communitree-app.com will be live, or follow us on Instagram, where our name is communitree.app. Yeah,
maybe we should put it in the chat.
Yeah, we will. But at this, I think we are quite excited about your view on this and on the discussion, I guess.